welcome to the Prison Outreach Prisons program. And we are striving from the Shura Council to thank the community for supporting us for the 10 years in which we have been able to go into the jails and the prisons, particularly in Southern California, providing Qur'ans and materials for the Muslims, and also supporting the chaplains that work in the jails and the county and state federal prisons, detention facilities. And we couldn't do this without your support. And so we thank you. But we also, want to use this platform to educate you and to inform you and to have you to be able to meet those who you don't know who are serving our community as chaplains. And we're just so delighted today to have Sister Charmaine Holland, who is the chaplain at the Linwood Women's Facility in Los Angeles County, which we know that Los Angeles County jails are one of the largest in the world. And we're just so blessed to have her to be able to share her journey in being a chaplain. Year or so ago, she's always cared about men and women in the jails and the prisons. She was renowned, or is renowned, for a journal that she had produced for during Ramadan for them. And Allah has touched her and moved her, and now she's where the rubber meets the road, she's there. And so, Sister Charmaine, can you talk a little bit about how that
journey
evolved? Yeah.
Well, thank you. First, thank you for having me. Alhamdulillah. Sometimes we don't plan. We just put the work in, and Allah opens up that door, and you just say, okay, I'm going, So I will say this is like my 14th year producing a Ramadan journal. But this year, I did not do it. It was just so much. Ramadan came so fast, and with COVID and my whole world kind of just changed or whatever, it was too much. And so Allah was like, not this year, focus on you. And who would have thought that a transition was taking place where I was going inside the prison and to minister to the woman one-on-one and listen to them, have that intimate moment with the soul connecting and trying to find out what is it that I can do to help and what is it that they're struggling with, why they're there. So it has been a beautiful blessing, a wonderful experience for me to keep maintaining being that motivated speaker and that life coach that Allah called me to be. So I'm actually walking in my purpose. I didn't know that this was going to be my purpose, but every time I go, it is just like a light of fresh air that I receive every time I go and just listen and just see the light that Allah has blessed them with for me to be able to witness their change. And it's slightly changed. Nothing happens overnight, but I do see a growth in them when I go and speak to them.
The steps that led you to actually being a chaplain, that took part first as a volunteer?
Yes, well, actually, it's still a volunteer, but what happened was that I used to go with Imam to the prison at Chino at CIW. So I would go there with the ladies, and I would go Friday by myself, and I would do little Juma and little study worksheet, work with them. And then all of a sudden it was like a whole different world because they weren't getting out like 5 years from now. It was almost like 10, 20, someone was in there for life. And so it's a different dynamic. And so, and then the energy that was there, I had to pull back for a moment. And so I pulled back for a moment. Then now I got another opportunity. Somebody kept saying, Charmaine, you gonna go back into prison. And I'm go back into prison, talk to the woman. And this is something that I always wanted to do, is motivate, empower women. And so it was an easy transition. I went to Jabril bookstore, and he was like, Charmaine, wasn't you in a prison before? And I said, yeah. And he said, you want to go back in there? And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go back in there. And he connected me with a lady, and she need help. And And I said, yeah, I'll go in. And so I met her. We talked. She wanted to get a feel of me, make sure I was that type of person that had that compassion, that empathy for them. And then that allowed me to be able to meet with her. We went in there and she was like, oh, I just love you, And she said, oh, I could tell the ladies love you too, and we just matched. It was a perfect match. And then she got me comfortable with how to move around in the prison and how to read the modulars and where you go and stuff like that. So I have learned the whole inside of the prison system. And so now she's like, okay, you're on your own. And so I've been going every Friday to go see the ladies, and it has been such a treat,
I'm a retired chaplain.
Yes,
so I know the feeling
yes.
of being there. And I also know as a Muslim, you're not there just for the Muslims.
No.
You're there for, all of the persons
Yes.
who you come into contact with,
Yes.
even the staff. And so
Yes.
it is just such an additional
Yes.
blessing that Allah has you in this situation to where you now can model,
Yes.
Islam spirituality
Yes.
and being there. And so how do the women receive you, or how receptive, are they, knowing that you're a Muslim and yet they open themselves up to you?
Well, it's interesting because I'm just temporarily, the guards, and they're not permanent, but they have to close their eyes and sleep there. But when I come in there, it's like a fresher breath of air. So when they see me, they was like, oh, there's Charmaine, Sister Charmaine, Chaplain Charmaine. And even the guards be so excited to see me. They was like, oh, that smile is just so contagious. And they just so be happy to see me. And even, some of them see me on a regular basis, but then it's like they have their little bunker, or they get to communicate, and I have my book circulating in there, and they were like, oh, we hear about your book, you're an author. So then it's like, well, I want to talk to you. How can I see you, And I say, just put a request in and see the Muslim chaplain, ask for Charmaine, And sometimes when I go there, sometimes the guard was like, God, you got time to see this other sister and this here? Because she's been crying all day and she needs somebody, And I said, sure. I said, I'm here, And so I'll get there between sometimes 7 or 8 in the morning, and then I'll leave about 12. But last week, I didn't leave about 2 o'clock. They said, how long you staying? I said, oh, I lost track of time. But it's just so rewarding, just because they want to see you and they want to talk to you. And some of them are Christians, and they be like, normally I see my Christian lady. She said, but I don't want to see them no more. I want to see you. And so it's just so rewarding that they look forward to seeing me,
Well, I want you to know that, we're here for you and to support what you're doing, and materials and things of that nature, to know that. And, Masjid Al-Sharif is having a transition program, and you've agreed to be a part of that.
Yes,
and we're just so thankful, because I want to get into a little bit about your coaching.
Yes.
And I know that's for people in need.
Yes.
Yes. And so what, tell us a little bit
how the coaching came about, the background of coaching. Well, actually, I've been coaching for the past 39 years.
Wow.
Okay. It started when I was actually a teen parent. It was almost kind of like a switch turned off, and I had to cultivate a human being. And from there, the little girl was no more a little girl. She became an adult, taking care of this life. And from that point, people just started coming to me, asking me questions. And so my whole living have changed, because it's not like a 13, 14-year girl can hang out with the 13, 14-year-old girls, because now she's a mama, and I couldn't hang out with the old folks anymore. Not older folks, but older 20 and 30, because they were more advanced for me. So I really just kind of just cultivated this child, and in the process, Allah was just giving me information. And I was a Christian then, but just because of everything I have learned, and just watching my nieces and my aunts and my mother and all my older adults, and I learned from them. I was that quiet one that sit back and observe, and I just watch everybody. And so as I watch everybody, I was learning my own self of how to become who I am. And so once I became a teen mom, and I left home when I was 18, it was like I had the sign on my forehead where everybody wanted to come and tell me their life story. And now here I am trying to figure out life myself. And I got grown people asking me, this little kid, about how do you do this? And how do I keep a relationship? And how, do I work out with me and my mom, or me and my dad is not just little random questions. And then I moved and I went to California. And this one company who was an owner, she invested in me, and she seen so much potential in me, and I seen so much potential in this company. I gave her my all, and she just nurtured me and taught me about business and life. And from that point, I was hiring and training people. So not only were I training people for the job, but they see me as another role of a person that they could come and talk to. And so from that point, people just still started coming and talking to me. And I used to always try to push them away, but Allah just kept bringing them to me. And then I became a CFO, and it was like they say CFO/psychiatrist. And they would come in my office and sit and cry, and I had to go pamper them and talk to them. But it was a beautiful experience. And then now after COVID happened, you realize, oh, this is my calling. And I heard a little voice says, get out in the world and go help people. Before, like I said, I was a bookkeeper, accounting, just doing regular, helping entrepreneurs become successful in business, and, helping the imams, doing stuff in the community. So that's a lot of my background. So all this time I've been training and helping people. Back then they didn't call it a life coach. It's just something you just provide service for, right? Now as a life coach, and it's like, oh, that's the title, So I say sometimes I'm a spiritual teacher or a spiritual coach. I'm still playing around with the language of the word, but I'm here to serve and help people because there's so many people that need help. And
you also have
a podcast, yes. And so with all this here taking place by me getting out in the world, because before I was really an introvert, and Allah said get out in the world and start talking, and now I can't be quiet, It's like okay, Charmaine, zip it, but no, she just want to just keep talking because she know that people need help. And so with that being said, it allowed me to be able, because I go in there and I listen to the women, the stories of women, and I hear women on the streets and the stuff that they go through, I realize that there's a mental health issue that's causing them to be able to do the things that they do. And so that allowed me and you to be at Mash Sharice to host the mental health. And I didn't know that we was going to have a mental health monthly segment, but I realized that families need to reach out and help their siblings before they go into prison. And that's what I noticed, that they're not seeking help, and their children are being caught in certain situations that they don't know how to handle because of not understanding things that they're not supposed to do.
Right.
And so, and then from there, a podcast came about. So it's like I be out in the world and I be talking, and Allah just be sending people to me, and it was like, oh, okay, let's work together, And so this woman was on Oprah Winfrey interview show, and I met her, and she said, oh, Charmaine, I just fell in love with you. And so now she's going to be on my podcast talking about love of attraction. So it's going to be a podcast just talking about every issues about life. Is all about empowering, uplifting, and motivating people. So as people come to me, I'm using them as what Allah wants them to speak about what they do to help the people to understand how to become uplifted and empowered and be able to live in their authentic self. It's all about us peeling them layers and removing that pain that's causing them to be stuck, so they can be able to live their purpose, because we all have a purpose here in life.
Absolutely. And one of the wonderful things of you sharing is so that our young women and our young men can see that they are women in our community who Allah is blessed, and we live in a society where you can be able to blossom and to grow, and the sky is a limit. And I know you've written a book, Walking in Your Purpose, and you want a little bit share about your book so that the viewers can know and know that they can be able to support you through where they can purchase the book or get the book.
Yes, well, thank you. So yes, who would have thought that I would be an author? Yes, I tell you, you know what? All I just say is just if you keep walking in your purpose and you try to live your authentic self and you be obedient to Allah, Allah will guide you to exactly to what it is that He called you to be. And so I didn't think that I'd be able to actually become an author. It's just one day I was just sitting and I was just writing, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, this is a book. And I put it together like probably within a week, and I put it together, and this is about affirmations, and it's about empowering yourself. And these are books that I also give to the ladies in prison. So I teach them about the Quran. You know, they want to know about the Quran. I give them the Quran. I tell them to memorize Fatiha and memorize the last 5 surahs, and I tell them, okay, memorize that, and I give you something else. You know, so I give them a little treat or whatever, and then I teach them about affirmations, about self-care, self-worth. You know, putting words, you know, finding words that bring life into them, you know, that you're beautiful, you're amazing, because no one tells them that they're beautiful. You know, they out looking for acceptance. They're looking for a validation, but you don't have to look for it. It's already in you. And so these here books was Walking with Grace is also the second series of affirmations, and it has stories about me and stories about life journey, but it's also something that they can relate to because it's something that they're going through. And so if they understand how words are powerful, because we can speak life into ourselves or we can speak death into ourselves. So we have to be careful of the words that we use. And so with the affirmations, is giving them hope. And so one lady was like, I hear them saying affirmations. And she said, can I get one of your books so I can start saying affirmations? And I said, absolutely, you know. And the beautiful thing, it was one lady, she said, I'm sorry. She said, but I don't know how to read. Can you help me read? And I said, absolutely. And so I teach her how to read my book on affirmations every Friday. And then we get a little bit of reading in the Quran. And I will say this is like the 3rd week and her reading has improved. And it just touches me that Allah allowed me to be able to help these women in that capacity, to be able to teach them how to read and just how to find their self. And so you can find my book on my website. It's Charmaine Holland. It's www, and I'll spell it CHARMAINE. Holland, HOLLAND, and it's Walking in Purpose and Walking in Grace. And if you can sponsor a book for the woman in prison, I truly appreciate it. It's $10 each. And that's how it came about. I'm working on my 3rd book as we speaking. I won't give the title out yet, but you know, I have a title. So thank you very much for the opportunity to share my books. Yes.
I'm just so, again, thankful to the Shura Council for having the prison outreach program, to having the ShuraTV, that we can be able to, you know, let our community know that it's more than just, you know, us sending materials into the prisons, but we support those who go into the prisons and those who are helping to strive to make a difference in the lives of those who are in probably one of the most difficult challenges of their lives, being in an environment which is very unnatural, mothers away from their children, away from their families, away from anything that is normal. And for the community to know that we're making a difference, we're doing something good. So support the prison outreach program, support the Shura Council. Again, you know, we're for 10 years, we've established ourselves with the administrators of the jails and the prisons, that now they contact us, whether it's about, you know, procedures for Ramadan before it occurs. What can they do to facilitate those incarcerated in that environment? They come to us, and when there are other questions about some of the practices, then they contact us to give them clarity. And then the inmates and detainees know that the community is there for them through this program in which we have, and we couldn't do this without you. So please continue to support us as you have, and understand that giving out Qurans and pamphlets and literature in the jails and the prison is not a one-time thing. I mean, people come in and out of prisons all of the time. So there's a constant need of materials. We get requests from San Bernardino County Jail, from Riverside County Jail, for 50 to 60 hijabs, which means evidently there's a lot of women on the inside requesting hijabs, even though the community doesn't go in as volunteers. And we're trying to increase our community's awareness that volunteer opportunities are available. There's such a need for persons, just as Sister Charmaine, you know, goes into the jails and the prison. We need sisters to go in Riverside County, in San Bernardino County, in San Diego County, in Ventura County, Bakersfield, you know, Kern County, because we get requests. And though we are here in Southern California, we'll go wherever the request comes for us to come and visit someone and see someone. But we need you, the community, to also join in and not just through your material assistance, but think about visiting someone in jail or prison or in the detention facilities. Join us again as we continue to bring you from the chaplains, from the volunteers, from the men and women who have experienced being away from home in these places, to share their stories so that you can see the good that you are being a part of when you support what we're doing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. May He bless our sister to continue to be successful. And I do want to be the first to give you something from Masjid Al Sharif for your work with the transition, as that is some of the things that we're going to be doing. But to help you be able to continue doing what you do, then we want you to be able to have this inshallah.
Oh, thank you. Alhamdulillah. Thank you. May Allah continue to reward everything that you do as well. Yes, and thank you for the opportunity again. So I appreciate it.